Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, presented by T.A. Forsberg and Wagoner Financial. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
So there are many nonprofits out there delivering services to people who need it, and many host fundraising events to help keep their mission moving forward. Here to share the story of the Davies Project and their upcoming installment of Max's Race is the Executive Director, Pam Miklavcic. Darn it. Pam Miklavcic. I did practice that off air and I still blew it. We've got Robin Ross, the Director of Development, and Jan Nestel, the board member for the Davies Project, all here to share this wonderful nonprofit story and talk about upcoming Max's Race. Thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you.
All right. So, Pam, it just makes sense to start with you. What services does the Davies Project perform for those who aren't aware?
Yes, we provide rides to families to medical care. So, and for a child. So if a child is seriously ill, we make sure that that child can get back and forth to all of their medical appointments. It's not just the specialty appointments, it's the physical therapy, occupational therapy, mental health care, dental, eye, you name it. Once a child is with us due to a serious condition, we'll get them everywhere they need to be. And these are all families who struggle with transportation.
So how did this all start, and who are the Davies? Because I don't think that, if you're not involved in a circumstance where you're having trouble getting someone to a doctor's appointment, you may not know about this service. And I'm just fascinated that it exists and that you're unfortunately as busy as you are.
Right.
So talk a little bit about the origins.
Okay. So my oldest son, who is 27 now and being married in May, he had cancer when he was 3. And we had a long, very difficult struggle with him to get him through everything. And that was being a family with every resource available. My husband teaches at Michigan State. We had excellent insurance. We had everything going for us. We had a house. We had 2 cars. We had lots of support around us. We were financially able to handle all of this. Too many families don't have that. So that ultimately led to the starting of the Davies Project. Now, the Davies Project is actually named after Dr. Deli Davies.
Okay.
And he was at Michigan State in the College of Human Medicine. He was the chair of pediatrics and human development there. And I worked with him for a few years. He founded the Children's Health Initiative, and that was a resource to create a really nice facility for pediatric outpatient care. But it ended up not being in line with what Michigan State was pursuing at that time. So it closed down, and he moved on to the University of Nebraska Medical Center.
Oh.
But he was such an incredible man to work with, and he still is. He just one of the most compassionate men I've ever met, just genuinely cares for his patients, and just so much integrity that I thought when it was time to start this, let's give this a unique name. And that's where the Davies Project came about from.
Can you share any of the statistics? I mean, how many rides do you give in a month or a year? Or I don't know how you measure it, but just to let our listeners understand the impact.
It has grown like you wouldn't believe. And the limiting factor right now is drivers. We have 65 working with us.
Wow.
In any given month, maybe 35 or 40 drive. But we're giving... It's in the, I think it was like 240 last month. Mm-hmm. That's gotten to be the norm. We're kind of capping it at 60 a month right now, because until we can get more drivers in.
60 a week?
60 a week. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. 240. Right. So
240 a month. Yeah. But
wow.
we're
that's 3,000.
Yes,
rides a year that you're doing.
And these are all, when you think of it, these are all rides to appointments that would have been missed without us.
Right.
These families don't have transportation, and it's just not an easy thing to get a child there on a bus or via a taxi.
And the drivers, who tends to be your drivers?
So our drivers tend to be, we have a lot of drivers who are retirees, and we don't put any stipulation on our drivers. Our drivers are able to select the dates, times that they're available to drive. They do use their own vehicles. And we have some people that volunteer maybe one drive a month. We do have a lot of volunteers who are snowbirds and go away during the wintertime.
Okay, yep.
We have others that will come in and pick up additional drives. We do have some drivers that will drive as many as 10 drives a month. It's just very dependent, and because they're volunteers,
right,
we give them
based on their
that latitude.
schedule.
Yeah,
Right.
whatever your schedule is, because every drive that a volunteer does is helping a family and a child, and so we don't put stipulations on that.
The human and emotional side of me makes me think, I bet you must have drivers that work with families, because you probably have a lot of repeat folks, right? If the child needs to go that child needs to go regularly. Do you get those kinds of pairings where you have a driver that has a couple of families that they
I
try
think
not to miss?
Jan is the ideal one to answer this because her husband drives for us.
Oh, fantastic, Jan. All right.
My husband, Mike, is a driver, and we've been involved with the Davies Project since I think about 7 or maybe more years. We went to a fundraiser breakfast and heard these kinds of stories. And so Mike signed up to be a driver right after that. And then eventually I'm able to be on the board. So he drives, 2 or 3 times a week, very consistently if he's able. But like Robin said, if you can't do something for a while, that's okay. I think the flexibility of this is really important because a lot of people want to do something, but they don't maybe want to have to do it in a prescribed fashion. So every time he comes home, I get to hear a story, which half the time has me quite emotionally touched because you want to do what you can do for your child or your grandchild. And so the stories are touching and wonderful. And we do the greater Lansing area, and most of the drives are done here. But occasionally a child needs to go to an appointment like at U of M or something. So occasionally we do that. And so it's just wonderful. It's reaching out to a need that you would think now everyone in the world should have this program going to help these families. Right.
May I add to that?
Absolutely. This is your show.
Let me see. We've been doing this for we're in our 10th year now.
Okay.
Which is really amazing.
Yeah.
And our goal overall is to help the children of the Lansing area become as healthy as they can possibly be. So that means we've added 2 additional groups besides the children who receive rides. So the first are expecting moms.
Yep.
So that we will get them back and forth to all of their prenatal care. And if you look at the statistics, women of color are at least 2 times more likely to die from complications related to childbirth. And one thing I learned this summer in a meeting with the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Javier Becerra, is that those women, it can take up to a year after delivery for these complications to
subside.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we will now offer women rides for a year to all of their medical care following delivery and their infants for that time too. And again, all of this is contributing to the health of the family and the health of the child and of the mom.
Right.
And we also drive parents back and forth to the neonatal ICU at Sparrow Hospital. And that's super important because we need those babies to go home to a family where the parents have bonded with them. And it's very hard for working parents to get back and forth to the hospital during the day or during kind of normal hours. We're helping them get there many times a week. And that's making a much better situation.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And I just wanted to add something also. In the evolution of this program, you see the many places it reaches and the larger community support that happens. Our first thing is thinking about that child or that mother. But then you see all the ramifications of how it happens. I'm a physical therapist by profession, and I worked in pediatrics. And sometimes my patients didn't make it. And you could see what happens when children and their families don't have that care. And it's just really impactful when you start to see the broader, larger meaning behind the Davies Project for that family and those caregivers and those medical people and the larger picture.
Fantastic. Well, I want to give a nod to one of our sponsors. Are you ready to make financial decisions? Wagoner Financial offers a proven process for financial transformation, empowering individuals at all stages. Whether you're just starting out, nearing retirement, or anywhere in between, stop feeling unsure about your financial path. Wagoner Financial can help you undergo a financial transformation and schedule a consultation today to discuss your individual needs and discover how Wagoner Financial can guide you through this transformation. Visit wagoner-financial.com or call 517-853-3367. You will not regret it. So as the Director of Development, you have volunteer drivers, but so who are the partners that you work with regularly, and where do the funds that you raise go specifically?
So we work with some of our stakeholders are MSU FCU, the City of Lansing, Joe D. Pentecost Foundation, the Carls Foundation, Delta Dental, and United Way of South Central Michigan. And all of the funds that we receive from those that's just our funders, our
Right.
grant funders. Those funds go to support our operation as a whole. So it helps to support our family services coordinator position and our volunteer coordinator, who work very closely together. Our volunteer coordinator works with our volunteers, and then our family service coordinator works with getting those families, organizing and scheduling all of those rides. We also have a director of engagement on staff. And so our director of engagement, so our tagline is more than just a ride. And so not only do our drivers make connections with our families, but we also have a director of engagement on staff who also reaches out to those families to talk about any kinds of maybe resources in the community that they may need. And so she's able to help out with that. And so that's where all of that funding goes.
And it makes a ton of sense. And I bring that up to make sure people understand how important it is to fund nonprofits, because even though you may not wrap your brain around where those funds go, there's so much that goes into it. I mean, first of all, you got to connect with the people out there to make sure that, like, the outreach and the marketing and letting people who are in this situation know they're not often easy people to reach. Yes. To let them know that there's a solution out there for the problem that they have. Plus insurance and all that kind of stuff is, I'm sure, not an easy bill to pay. So that's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that.
Yes.
Let's downshift to Max's Race, okay? Because this is your annual big fundraiser. It's coming up. Hopefully the weather is going to continue to change. And who knows when people are going to be listening to this specific show, but it hasn't been beautiful and gorgeous out the last couple of days. So I just want to share Max's Race's story. So who is Max, and when is the event?
Okay, the event is, remind me.
So I was going to do this piece. So
got it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm ready to go.
No,
Sorry,
go
yes,
ahead.
please do.
Let's hand this over to Robin.
So Max was 6 years old when he passed away from meningitis complications. And in his honor, his family organized a 5K. And this marks the 19th year of Max's Race, and the 5th year that Davies Project has been a partner. And the funds that are raised through Max's Race go to help pay for everything that goes into providing rides for children and pregnant women in our community. And this year, Max's Race will be on Saturday, June 22nd, once again on beautiful MSU campus. Last year was my first year participating, and honestly, it was probably one of the best 5Ks I ever did, because the surroundings were so beautiful that by the time I finished doing the 5K, I hadn't even realized I had even walked a 5K. It was amazing. And this year, I want to give a shout out to the Davies Project Board. We actually have a fundraising committee, and our committee, and Jan serves on that committee, and Mike serves on that committee as well. And they're so excited about making this a family-friendly event, and I think it's going to be fantastic.
And so, just to be clear, so Saturday, June 22nd, usually these are morning events.
It is at 8 a.m.
8 a.m.,
Yep.
Got it. And where is everyone convening?
Well, it's in front of the International Building, and all of the information, you can go to our website at www.thedaviesproject.org, and you can click on the link for Max's Race, and it'll take you right to where you can sign up for the race.
Are there additional sponsorship opportunities for this? You rattled off kind of your benefactors and the
there
people that
are, yeah.
Okay.
So we are actually, we have individual businesses and such that are sponsoring Max's Race this year. Some of those sponsors, again, MSU FCU, FD Hayes Electric, the IBEW, Dart Bank, LaughQ. Gosh, I know there's so many people that are sponsoring us this year. Foster Swift Collins, and Merit Labs. And so, yes, but we can always use more sponsors.
We want more sponsors.
We want more sponsors. And so if anybody is interested in sponsoring or learning more about how to become a sponsor, all they need to do is reach out to me at robin@thedaviesproject.org.
Perfect. Robin at thedaviesproject.org.
And that's ROBIN.
Got it. Okay. And it is daviesproject.org is the website?
It's
thedaviesproject.org. Perfect.
And
that's great.
There will be a kids race too. I mean, every year there's a wonderful kids race, and it's kind of a good thing following the Michigan Mile. It's a few weeks later, so kids who do the Michigan Mile may very well want to come out and do this race too.
Right on.
And there will be a lot more family fun activities at this race. So
that's great. And does it seem to just get bigger and bigger every time?
It does. We look for that, yeah.
Right.
But also, I just have to say,
Please.
It's really important to be sure to say that this is a race for anybody who's a serious walker or runner, and also for those who want to come out and enjoy walking on the campus, running on the campus. So we're trying to address both of those,
right,
and then have this extra fun. We have a lot of fun activities. So when people get there, they're going to have fun interacting with their children at the event.
Awesome. So June 22nd, 8 a.m., International Building on MSU's campus. No, that's fantastic. Volunteers. I would imagine that you probably need some additional people to help work the race itself, right?
We always do. So once again, reach out to Robin.
Yep.
And she can.
And also you can sign up through the link for Max's Race to be a volunteer as well, or please reach out to me.
Right on.
Happy to put people to work.
Got it. Is there any other information that you want to share about this great organization overall and Max's Race specifically?
Yeah. Just participating in this race and getting involved with us, it is making a huge difference in our community. We've been working with some of these children for 7-8 years, and we can see a very big difference in the family structure and in the child. It's really... it's very special. We created this model here in Lansing. This is nowhere else in the country. Nothing like this exists, with volunteers doing all the driving, and we're building connections across the community. So if anybody out there is really interested in maybe getting to know some neighbors you wouldn't have met otherwise,
right,
this is an excellent opportunity. And it's such an easy opportunity, and it's a great group of people. Once a month, the drivers come and meet me for coffee, and that is very wonderful too, because you get to see who else is volunteering, and it is really an exceptional group, and everybody is invited. So please come check us out.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the health of the community. Literally, the literal health of the community is ground zero for vibrancy and good energy and all that kind of stuff, right? So people who are really down and out and unwell are attacks on the community. But if you can get them through the challenges that they're facing, if hopefully there's another side to that where they become a healthy and, employable and, person, in our community, it just kind of double dips, right? Takes them from being kind of a drain and a challenge to productive member, and then the pride and enthusiasm that those people must face once they get hopefully out of the woods that they're in is good for our community.
We had a message from a mom last week who she's been receiving rides with her child for quite a number of years, but she's just been able to acquire a car. And she was talking about how bittersweet this is, that she's thrilled to be able to make the drives herself with her child, but how much she's going to miss the drivers in the camaraderie and the connection to us. And that's very special, very, very special.
maybe if she's got the bandwidth, she can be a volunteer driver.
Well,
at some
she
point.
has said
now
that.
She's got a car.
She has said that. She needs things to settle down a little more, but she'll be back.
Right on. And if you're an interested person listening to this and you're touched by the story, how can people register to try to be a driver?
You can always contact me.
Yep.
And I can connect you with our volunteer coordinator, or I'm happy to help.
Got it. So Robin is the lightning rod for all of this. If you have any questions, you want to sponsor, you want to volunteer, you want to, yeah, that's great for the race and for driving. Robin at thedaviesproject.org. Fantastic story. Anything I've missed?
One thing I was just thinking that might be helpful for volunteer people is that we do a training. And so there's a lot of good support coming in, wondering, what do you do? How do I handle this?
Right.
What should I do? So we have a good training that we
point.
provide every time.
That can be kind of daunting, right?
Yes,
it's like, I'd like to sign up, but how does it work? And what if I do it wrong? And what are the rules?
We also provide the car seats and any booster seats and anything that you might need in the course of taking a child on the ride. We will provide that for you. We have some great donated books that we have received from lots of different organizations. So all children on their rides receive a free book. And the East Lansing Kiwanis, they donate healthy snack bags. So drivers can come in and pick up snack bags, and they always have snack bags with them when they go on their drives.
Excellent. Great to know. Thanks so much for sharing the stories. I really hope that Max's race on June 22nd at 8 o'clock in front of the International Building will be a wild success. Please reach out to Robin if you want to volunteer for the race, if you want to run in the race, if you want to sponsor the race, or become a driver. Robin is your go-to person. We've been speaking with the Executive Director, Pam Miklavcic.
And anybody can always reach out to me as well.
Absolutely.
Pam at thedaviesproject.org.
Got it. And Robin Ross, the Director of Development, and Jan Nestel, one of the board members, bringing a lot of value to the conversation. Really appreciate you all being here. And I'd like to give a final shout out to all my loyal sponsors. We've got Wagner, Forsberg Real Estate, Wagner Financial, Triterra Environmental, Good Marketing, and the attorneys at Foster Swift. These are fantastic people who are worth the call. And if you found this show as a one-off, I want to remind you that you can subscribe and find Michigan Reimagined on YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, pretty much anywhere you want to find your podcast. My name is Chris Buck. This has been Michigan Reimagined. Thank you, ladies, for joining me here today.
Thank you so much.